Did you ever think that the world doesn't have enough hatred? Well, I think you might be slightly mistaken. In fact, hatred caused by a lack of understanding is most likely the leading reason why the world has so many problems. And unfortunately, we're stuck in this endless loop of wanting more hatred because people, or at least we feel people do us wrong, or we feel people are evil, or we feel people are monsters, the usual. So, why is hatred not the answer? The reason hatred is not the answer is not because we need to feel bad for people, although it would be useful. The reason hatred is not the answer is because of how humans respond to it. When we are looking at something holistically, as in seeing the full picture, we want our world to improve. We want less violence, we want less conflict, we want less struggles, and we want a better life for us all. Humans, like I said, don't respond well to hatred. So if you're going to talk to people who you think are, or at least not even talk, if you're going to behave to people or react to people or act in a certain way towards people that you dislike, I can understand why you do it. There's something called emotions, there are something called spontaneous reactions and impulses that we all have. But if you actually take a second to reflect, what you're doing is giving them another reason to treat you worse. And I'm going to apply this to large scale conflicts now. You have two powers fighting. Let's just say the US and China, okay? It could be anything. The Chinese, obviously, when they're brought up in their own country, in this scenario, are brought up to dislike the US. At least that's what the propaganda brings to them. And that's what's currently happening in a lot of countries. The US, again in this scenario, the American citizens are being brought up to dislike China and have allegiance for their country. Now let's apply this to scenarios, actual scenarios like Palestine, Israel, or Ukraine, Russia, or maybe now India, Pakistan, right? You can see that people on either side are able to dehumanize the other side because of their hatred. But if you aren't able to understand people, not only do you hate them, but you are far more capable of dehumanizing them. And once you dehumanize people, it is that easy to carry out any manner of atrocity against them. This is a serious matter for concern. And one more thing I want to say is that humans respond negatively to hatred in the way that if you believe someone is wrong about something, if you believe someone is misspoken or misunderstanding something or just downright wrong, the worst thing you can do, it doesn't matter what it's about, it could be an extreme issue or a mild issue, the worst thing you can do is insult them and shame them. Why is this the worst thing? Well, the reason this is the worst thing you can do is because this leads them to become more defensive in their stance. People will not change if they are unable to understand why they are wrong. People will not change if they are unable to understand why you have a differing perspective to them, and people will not change if they're not able to understand the roots of why they should change and why you want them to change. And I'm talking about the roots of everything, the roots as in the factors that add up to their thoughts and your thoughts and both of your perspectives, right? And in order to achieve this, this criteria, in order for people to change, you need to understand first. Even if you think, oh, there's no chance, people are evil, they won't understand. Well, okay, we've been doing the same thing on our planet for how many years, and it just continues to get worse. The advancement of AI is going to complicate things. The internet is already causing people to grow up with even more hatred and polarization, and it's discouraging more thinking. The world's already built on money. Systems already bring people up to focus more on themselves than others, which some of these things are inevitable. But still, nothing is going to change if you aren't able to understand first. And that's all I'm saying. Hatred is not the answer. Not because people need to care, but because if you care about anything on this planet, you will not want to see that disappear. And that's all I'm saying, because the rate that we're going, who knows what's going to happen. I'm not saying we're going to wipe each other out and ourselves out, but I am saying there's a chance. So, like I said, understand the root causes of things, understand how complicated humans are being, and understand that we can still try and solve issues intelligently and non-emotionally without accepting or excusing bad behavior. And that's all I'm going to say.